So we're harvesting some dandelions for stir fry. What you do is you pinch off the base of where the stem meets the sepals here, and just put them in. That little bit of white sap at the base isn't really going to cause too much of a problem, but some people, they have a reaction, a stomach reaction, when they eat too much of that milky white sap. It's also found in milkweed. It's a latex-based sap that is a great medicine for warts, applied topically, 3 to 5 times a day over a course of 3 to 5 days. It's on par with Compound W, and it's free. So everything about this dandelion is magnificent. You can eat these greens in the early spring when it's colder than below freezing at nighttime and above freezing during the day, and before they get bitter. And the reason plants get bitter is to protect them from being consumed by insects and other creatures like us. But you can actually get rid of that bitterness by cooking in 2 or 3 changes of water these nice deep greens, which are rich in vitamin A and minerals. The roots themselves can be roasted into a coffee substitute. You put them on a sheet pan and make them nice and brittle and crush them up, grind them like coffee. We're going to stir fry. We're going to stir fry these dandelion heads, and these are actually a colony of flowers, not just one flower. Each one of these rays, these single petals, belongs to a specialized flower. Some of these flowers specialize in attracting insects, others are reproductive flowers, but this is an advanced flower colony, and all of the asters are pretty much at the pinnacle of flower evolution, just like this dandelion here. You can eat these raw. They have a vegetable but mildly sweet taste to them. You can dip them in batter and deep fry them, but that kind of goes against the grain of trying to be healthy, so we're just going to gather a bunch of these. We're going to go to the garden and get some of the onions that wintered over, and maybe some of the escaped cultivated mustard greens, and we're going to make a stir fry. So it's May 4th, which is really early in May in Maine to start gardening. In fact, we have a lot of brassicas up because we know they're pretty cold hardy, but we had some greenhouse row cover over the brassicas in order to protect them from the frosts, which could still occur up to May 15th. But in doing this, we've actually encouraged some of last year's mustard greens to come up. So they're going to make a great addition to our dandelion stir fry. Now, there are 3 species of dandelion that occur in Maine, and we pretty much label all of them Taraxacum officinale. And all of them are edible. And even those asters that look like dandelions somewhat, hawkweed or coltsfoot, aren't poisonous, okay? The hawkweed has hair on its stem, and the coltsfoot has little scales on its stem. The dandelion has that unique hollow stem with the milky sap. It's the only technically inedible part of the plant. A lot of people eat the whole plant as a diuretic. It stimulates the digestive system as well as the fluids passing out of your body. Many old-timers refer to dandelion as a spring tonic. So we're going to mix in some fresh mustard greens here. A nice tasty spring treat from the garden. Nice little, add some spice to our dish. And then we're going to add to that some onion and some cabbage just to give it some hardiness. This will reduce to about 1/4 of its size once we start frying it up with some olive oil. Well, true to fashion, I couldn't find my digging stick, so my son collects beaver chews, and this is a perfect diameter and angle for digging up onions. Now, in the springtime, most of the energy is going to the aerial parts of the plants, the buds, the emergent leaves. I mean, right now, we're almost at the tail end of eating the tree leaves because they're gaining too much cellulose structure. But about a week ago, the basswood trees, the leaves tasted like watermelon. They were delicious. These root vegetables, this is the end time of their season, but these fresh greens like this oregano, if you live in Maine, don't plant oregano. It's like kudzu. We're going to add this just because I want to keep it in check from taking over the entire garden. But yeah, just in general, just remember that early spring is the tail end of root vegetables because they're starting to transfer their energy up and into the aerial parts of the plant. Let's see how lucky we get. I mean, if these look like scallions, I'll be surprised. But either way, we can take the pale bottoms as well. Yeah, so these are baby onions. Now, coming back in September, and this will be 3 to 8 times bigger, this bulb, and we're going to use like scallions from here to here in our stir fry. So we'll take a few of these, some oregano, and we'll be good to go. Alright, so it goes all the onions. See that? There's the cabbage. Cooking the onions like most people cook chives. That's alright. Because this is Maine, and it's early May, and not a lot of good stuff out there unless you planted it the year before. And we just put our chives in this year, so we're going to have to do a little bit of onion dance. I like that color, huh? Yeah. Alright, I'm going to switch over to a spatula and we'll just get it all nice and hot and we'll be ready to go. So because this is a spontaneous video production, I don't have the right tool to stir the stir fry, and doing the whole fancy thing like this, well, I lost half of it, but that's alright. We still got enough to taste, and I told you it was going to reduce to about a quarter with the flour, and that's about right. See the onions in there, and the mustard greens have reduced as well, but what's really cool is the cabbage absorbs a lot of the flavors, and it stays pretty bulky. So what we're going to do is put this in dishes. It's almost like a Thai dish. It's got a nice spicy flavor to it, and it's not overwhelming. A lot of vitamin A and minerals. There's a thing you have to be aware of when you start foraging for wild foods. I'll turn this off. One of them is when you eat wild foods, your body gets full, but it's not that bloated full that you get at a salad bar. A salad bar is 90% water, 10% cellulose. You know, it's hard to make money as a farmer as it is without having to reintroduce all of those nutrients back into the soils that were lost during the Dust Bowl of the 1920s. Wild foods don't have an issue like that. In fact, it's all about chemical warfare for them. Those chemicals that fight off like viruses and bacteria, for instance. Getting explosive growth in the spring to shade out the competitors. So for mass-produced crops, it's all about lots of water and lots of cellulose to turn a profit. For wild harvested crops, you're getting mega doses of vitamins and minerals. Your body's basically saying, alright, I have enough, I don't feel like eating anymore. So a little dish like this is going to more than feed me and the cameraman Mike over there. Alright, well, we're going to eat lunch, so we'll see you on the trail. Sorry about the small bowl, Mike. It's okay. There's not a lot in here. It's okay.